Blues, thanks for popping up into the TT studio for the very first time. Now, I've got to start. Have you ever listened to Talking Tigers? Be honest.
I have.
Oh,
well,
yeah?
when the CEO's on it, of course you have to tune in.
You've got to have a listen.
So I saw a couple of little snips here and there. So, loving it.
Hey, so I was up in Shepparton last year for a golf day, and I did a little sports night the night before the golf day, and your dad was there, and I didn't know, but tell our listeners, he's a mad Tigers fan back in the day, your dad.
And he was,
brother.
and my older brother.
Yeah.
So, I grew up with an older brother and younger brother. So my dad and my older brother were always Richmond. My mum and I were Essendon, and my younger brother was Melbourne. So, my dad and older brother were stoked when I obviously got the job. And it was funny, like, travelling down from Shep, would either go and watch a Richmond-Melbourne game or Melbourne Essendon game or Essendon-Richmond. So it was always that big trek up and come and watch the twos and spend a whole day here and then turn around and get back on the highway. So, great times. But, he's loving putting the colours back on.
Yeah, he was a great man. Had a good chat to him at the golf club there. Hey, you second pre-season, how has it looked as opposed to your first one? Clearly, there's been a lot of personnel changes.
Yep.
Just give us a snapshot of the pre-season.
Yeah, it has been a bit different. Obviously you go through a fair bit, and we went through a lot last year with all the things that we're going through. And for a first-time coach, it was great learning for me. But this year, obviously, our list dynamic changed. So we sat down as a collective with Tim Livingston and Blair Hartley and Shane Dunn, and we created a plan. Like we've gone from a pretty experienced list to a really inexperienced list. So things need to change for that. So it doesn't change on our expectation on win-loss, but what it does do is we go into a more of a development program. So we've got a lot of young players that need upskilling and little things that we've shifted. So we shifted a couple of our coaches around, for instance. So Ben Rutten, rather than doing a line, he's overseeing our coaches, making sure that we're educating the right way and making sure that we're making every minute matters, or every minute matter in our coaching and our development and education. So he's overseeing that. It helps me. We've got another set of eyes for our coaches so we can upskill them. And then Jack Zeeble, for instance, was a stoppage coach last year. So he was full-time in the AFL program. Right now, we see more benefit for him to be in the development room. So we've got 24, 25 really young players that need that time. So we're kind of going one less in the AFL program, one less coach. Blake Carousella's come in. He'll look after stoppages, and we've got a couple of guys and a couple of analysts that will help him with that. But we just see that the benefit's going to be around our development, how fast we can fast track the development of these boys.
And Stevie Morris obviously gets promoted from the VFL up into the coaching staff. What do you love about Steve?
He's a terrific coach, and to be fair, he's been knocking the door down for a couple of years now. He's a great VFL coach, and obviously running your own program and transferring our message from the senior program and the same game styles and things like that. So last year we went through a lot of adversity in the senior team, and what that does do is our VFL program then gets impacted by that. But if you were a supporter and go and watch our games at Punt Road at VFL level, they look like they were playing a Richmond brand of footy, which is really impressive for a young coach. So he's been ready for a couple of years now, so he gets his opportunity, and so far so good.
And of course, the other addition to the footy program is Ben Serple as the high performance manager. So things have changed up a bit under him too, haven't they?
Yeah, well, they do, and it has to. And to be fair, he's the same sort. Like any person you talk about in the AFL industry, just speaks so highly of him, and we can see the reasons why. He's such a smart operator. He's really diligent, and we need that with our list dynamic. What it is right now, our boys are learning how to train hard, recover. Luke Meehan, he did a terrific job under the circumstances, but we just needed a new voice. So. Ben's been terrific for our program and a great support for me.
And just on the brand, who's coming off obviously 3 premierships and then in under your tutelage, when we talk about Richmond brand, what are the fans expecting to see when we come across the G on Thursday night against the Blues?
Yeah, I think most teams right now, like all the good teams, play a front half game. Yeah. So I think we've got a pretty potent midfield that we hopefully can have some dominance around stoppage. So that gives you the first opportunity to play front half footy. So, we want to be really stable in our defence. I'm going to preach to our players, irrelevant of who's in the team. We play team defence. So you're one cog in that system. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be hard to play against on defence. So really stable on defence. have a really potent offense. We just need to change gears on offense. I think in our DNA, and it has been at our footy club, around playing fast. And when we did win premierships, the rules were a little bit different. You could play a spare behind the ball and just create counter-attack footy. But now with the 6-6-6, it's hard to do that. We'll have that part of our DNA that will come out in games.
Yeah.
But at times we need to slow the game down and just possess the ball. So we're just trying to find a balance of both.
Whereas what about positional changes against Collingwood? We saw, McIntosh go into the middle, big body, obviously experienced loss, so he brings that. Is that something we'll see more of? And are there any more moves that you have positional-wise this year?
Yeah, well, we've moved Cozzy, so Jacob Kashitsky's gone into the back end. Campbell Gray did that last week, and he's going to stay there. He looked good. So we sort of knew that anyway. Noah Bolter's going to go down and play down back as well, so he's training with the defenders. But Camden gives us the flexibility. We know what he can do as a winger, but he's a big body. I feel like Tim and Hop can shoulder the responsibility a lot, so we need some support around that. So Jack Ross is going to be really important as well. And we've got some young midfielders that need that experience around them. So as I said, Camden, we understand we can always show his magnet back on the wing and he'll do it, no issue. But what it does do is give us a different dynamic. He's a big body, good runner, and it gives opportunity on the wing. So Thompson Dow went on the wing on the weekend, and he has done for the last couple of games, and James Chazai. So we're trying to find some different players for different roles, and to be fair, they've found a little niche. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Trigger and Dowie on the wings in round one, which would be nice.
There's obviously a lot of excitement with the draftees. It was an unprecedented haul of 8, exciting young players. Can you just give us just a snapshot? I'll go through them all, and just maybe just one sentence on each of them, how you've seen them, through the preseason and everything, and obviously starting off with Sammy Lawler.
Well, it's hard to have one sentence with Sammy,
but you can have a couple more.
But to be fair, there's a reason why he was the number one pick, and it's not just his talent on the field. He's just a great character. He's a great teammate. He's so diligent. He wants to be the best player he can be, and we're starting to see that. Like, he hasn't done a preseason. He'd play cricket. He'd normally play cricket on and off in his off season, and he's just done it all on pure talent. But as I said, he's so diligent. He was so unlucky getting hurt when he did, but even seeing how quick he's recovering and responding to that has been enormous. But he's just a really, obviously a high talent, but a great character.
Josh Smiley.
Really similar. So he's been a captain of Vic Metro and his team. Most of the teams he played for, he's been a captain, and that's shining through as well. So he's a big body. They're men, like they're ready to play. He's obviously had a little bit of a hiccup, but up until then he hadn't missed a beat. So they've just been sponges. They're walking around the building. They're learning off our older players, which is awesome.
I know, obviously, we won't see Taj Houghton for a while, coming off the knee, but a very exciting prospect. Yeah,
no doubt. And you sort of do look to the future and can't wait to that middle part of the year when we get a lot of the boys that are in that rehab group back onto the park with McKelty and Josh Gibkiss, all those young boys that just need that ounce of luck. But Taj is a high talent. I saw him firsthand play against my son last year, and his first 5 games last year were enormous. And we lose a really talented player in Shea, and Taj got really similar.
He sort of
qualities.
looks like Shea.
He does. He moves similar. He could take a big grab, but his awareness around stoppage and around contests is really super. So we can't wait to.
And Jonty Fall's another one that we haven't seen much of because he's had a back problem. But how do you assess him?
Yeah, well, we're kind of holding him back a little bit because the kid is a competitor and he wants to hit bodies, and that's the reason why he went so high, and a lot of teams rated him really high. So he's in a good spot. He's almost full training now, so he'll be most likely available sort of round 3 or 4 of the AFL program. So we need to get him into the program, start feeling bodies, and as I said, if there's a pack there, he'll try and crush every single one of them. So he's a competitor. He's a great kid, and he's a sponge as well. Like he's some of the forward line meetings, because in our forward line group we've got a really young list, and then we've got the Godfather in Tom Lynch overseeing all that. But listening to Jonty speak up in meetings, and he's just absorbed a lot of that stuff, even though he hasn't been out on a training field, which is awesome.
And we saw Luke Traynor come on late in the Community Shield game against Collingwood and was very impressive. So he
must be right at home, didn't he?
Yeah. He's coming along well.
And that's going to be not an issue all year, but throwing Lukey into our back end, he's got some support. Like you're talking, he's playing beside Nick Floston and Nathan Broad and Ben Miller, and you're going to have Noah Bolter there and Jaden Short. So we've got a pretty experienced back end. So he just blends in with that. He's always got these leaders around him. And our midfield crew will be pretty similar. You've got your captain, you've got Nate, you've got Dion and Tim and Hop are really experienced. So you throw Sammy Lawler and Josh Smiley into the midfield, it's going to be easier for them to blend. It's our front end that's really young. So when we do get Lynchy available, that's why he's so important for us down there. But Lukey's he's a high talented player, but his IQ out on the field is next level. So he plays tall, he plays small, he's got a massive engine, and he's just such a neat finisher. So you would have seen that on the weekend. He would have had it 12 or 13 times and a half.
Yeah.
But he
went
doesn't
at 100%.
He doesn't miss a kick, and it's more what his decision making is outstanding. So
so another one of the young forwards, Harry Armstrong.
Yeah, well, Harry's growing into his body, and his body shape's changed already. And to be fair, he's only been at the club for 3 months. So, he'll get an opportunity early based on the fact that we are young in our front end, and he hasn't missed a beat. So we won't throw any of our young boys out there if they're not ready. But we just feel we looked at some vision from the game against Collingwood, and we highlighted some of the things he did without the ball, and even just some of the contests. So as a young kid, you want the ball, and everyone will talk about Luke Traynor because he had 13 possessions or whatever it was in a half, and Harry's probably touched it 3 or 4 times, but what we do value is his contest he's providing. Our smalls will get to work underneath him, and there'll be days where they do start to stick. And Richo would attest to this. When you first start as a key position, you're playing against the best defenders in the comp. He'll be playing, if he does play in round 1, you're talking Wiedering and some of the best defenders around. So he's going to have some fluctuations in his form, but right now he hasn't missed the beat, and we can't wait to see him
He's
out
a good
there.
finisher too, isn't he?
He's a good finisher, It was unlikely him to miss from 30 out.
Yeah. Tom Sims is the other one, obviously forward, but he can also do a bit of the ruck work too.
Yeah, he can help out in the ruck. So, he's been impressive. So we thought he might take a little bit longer to fill into his body and understand AFL standards and game. But he's been impressive. So his forward line craft, his work rate, he likes to crash a pack as well. And having the fact that he can play second ruck, he's probably going to push him closer to selection than a couple of the others. So, he's in a good spot and a really good kid. He loves his music and got up and sung in front of the boys.
Oh, did he?
Last week.
Bit of confidence there.
Yeah, he does have a bit of confidence. He thinks he's Kendrick Lamar. So, which is good. We want that. We want individuals, and we want to celebrate.
Too,
celebrate that, and we love him.
Yeah, and Jasper Elgar is the final one. Yeah, of the 8.
Yeah, Jasper had a bit of a hiccup. He tweaked his knee in our intra-club game in the first practice game, and but since then he hasn't missed a beat. He's a clever forward. I saw him firsthand last year. He played with Caulfield with my young fella, and he's a highly talented, can mark it, can crumb, and he's got a big tank. So he's an into his career, and he'll get an opportunity at some stage. But right now, based on his training load, he more likely VFL to start.
Hey, you mentioned McKelty Lafau, and we loved what he did last year. Big contest, and he started to really find his way. I thought he attracted the footy, took some contested marks, finished well. Is he pretty important with the young names we've just mentioned? If you can get him back in, perhaps that means Armstrong or Fall or Sims get the third best defender, and they don't get Wiedering, as you just said. Do you see him playing a pretty important role while they're developing?
Oh, no doubt. And I think you start to realise how important you are is when you're not there. So, and we get that sense when Lynchy's not there. You understand on how important this guy is for us. He straightens us up. He creates a contest. And then when Lynchy wasn't there, Celts was doing that and playing high-level AFL footy. And which was really impressive for a guy from an SSP position and getting picked up in the preseason. So, we can't wait. He's actually joining in training. So he's not far from full training. So he's a powerful man, and I think he's recovering a lot quicker than a couple of the others based on that. But we can't wait to have him out there. That focal point, and he can play second ruck, things like that. That might be able to balance us out as well. But having those big power forwards is really important to the way that we want to play.
Just on Celts, we'll go with the other 3 players that did suffer ACLs last year. So we'll start with Josh Gibkis. How's he tracking along?
Yeah, Gibbo's going okay, but it's amazing how different everyone's recovery can be.
Yeah.
Like we've got 5 guys, including Taj, that are going through that, and there's no exact science to it. Like Gibbo did his knee first, I think, out of all of them, and he might be the last guy back in. But we've just got to be really mindful that he's been through a lot for the last 2 years, and we don't want to put a time frame and push him too hard too early. So when Gibbo comes back, we want him to be not only physically ready but mentally ready to just because he knows no other way. He's he's a powerful kid, and he wants impact the minute he walks onto an AFL field. So, and he's so important to our list dynamics that we can't take any risks with him. So he's going okay. He's obviously gone into his running program. He hasn't joined the skills program just yet, but that won't be too far away.
No worries. And Tyler Young coming out of our VFL program was a great story, and unfortunately him doing his ACL. But how's Tyler and how's he tracking for the start of the year?
Yeah, he obviously won't be available for the start of the year, but it'll be sort of, I don't know, maybe around 6 to 8.
Okay.
That he'd start to integrate into our full conditioning and full match sim. So so he's tracking along nicely. It's really interesting for those two, for guys that are going through what they're going through individually. Them trying to give back to our footy club. Like Gibbo and Youngie were helping our AFLW program in the off season. They're helping our VFL program right now. Their selflessness around our footy club been amazing. So, but right now, as I said, Youngie's starting to progress, and I think he joined in one of the warm-up drills the other day, so he won't be too far away from joining full training.
Excellent. Another young forward that the Tiger fans have seen a bit of at AFL level in the previous couple of years before doing his ACL was Judson Clark. How's he going? And is that smile still on his face?
Yeah, it is.
I saw him at the golf day. He's always smiling.
Never stops.
He's a great kid, and as a left footer,
Yes.
it does give us a different dynamic.
Yeah,
He's actually training as a winger. So we know what he can do as a forward. He's a clever forward and he can hit the scoreboard. But having a left foot winger, I think is really important. The way that we want to play, and James Shazais is doing that now.
And the pace that he
and
has
the pace. He's a beautiful ball user. He's a great kick on both sides of his body, and he's joined in. So I think he had a bit of a hip flexor the other day, but based on his knee, he was going to join in match play tomorrow.
Awesome.
So he's not far away. So that will take a little bit of time. He'll need to gain some confidence in getting through however many match simulations, but he's probably the closest out of all of them to playing, which is nice.
How do you define success then this season?
This season?
Yeah.
Oh, well, obviously when you're going through an AFL season, there's a win-loss column. So that's always going to be our focus, and we go into every game trying to win the game, and I'm not going to put a ceiling on how many wins we're going to try to come out of the season with. But for us this year, it's going to be around growth. So whether it's growth individually, as a coach, you want to see growth in the way that you play, no matter what, whether you've won the premiership or not. Brisbane would be looking for growth in their system as well as individually. So we want to see growth all across our footy club or across our team. So whether that's on the field, whether it's just purely on offense, defense, stoppage, we want to see growth in all areas and all phases. And then we want to see growth with our players. They're obviously going to get exposure because they're young. And that takes time. Like Ryan Mansell right now feels like he belongs at AFL level, but he's played 50 odd games. We've got so many players that have played under 30 games that we've got to fast track not only their exposure but their development. So the growth in each of our players needs to be individually, and then obviously as a team we want to see growth, and we want to be competitive every week and be really hard to play against.
This is the exciting time of the year. The G's just behind you there, and we're 8 days out. You've got a little a training run, a bit of match sim. So where are we placed? What are you looking at over the next few days? Obviously, we want to see Sammy Lawler. We know he's got a long career, but it'd be exciting to see him against the Blues, and obviously Lynchy just got to tick a few boxes. Yeah,
they do. They've both been through the concussion protocol, and then what that does is it impacts on your training load. So we'll have a small match sim tomorrow. They both won't be involved in that, but what we do, if they don't get through a full training session on Monday, that's our main training. Yeah. There'll be a bit of obviously combat in that. So that it'll be all based around what they can get through next Monday. But we won't take any risks. They're both really important players for us. One's at the start of his career, and one's obviously a well-established player. But they're so important for our season. You can get seduced with round one, and putting all your eggs in that basket. And but in 6 days' time, post the Carlton game, we're jumping on a plane and we're going to Port Adelaide. So there won't be any risks involved with that selection. But we know how important they are, and watching Sammy run around the GM round one's always going to be enticing against Carlton. So
it'd be exciting.
I reckon he's going to be breaking my door down post Monday training session.
Yeah, he's going to want to be there.
Type of kid he is. Yeah.
Who's good luck against Carlton. We can't wait for this year. I think all the Richmond supporters I talk to, they're excited to see this journey with the young list. But before we let you go,
no, I was just going to ask you to. What do you do to get away
Yeah,
away
sort
from
of about
football?
to ask, huh?
Yeah. Oh,
Well-
sorry. I thought you were just going to.
He always takes my
I
questions.
thought you were winding us up. You asked.
no.
You asked the
No,
question.
no, you go, Tom.
No, to away from football, to get your mind off football and everything. Yeah.
Oh well, there's obviously multiple outlets. I've got a family. They're not a young family. Like I've got an 18-year-old son and a 21-year-old daughter that obviously still want to spend family time, even though they don't care that I exist. And they've got their car keys and they get out. They can't wait to get out of the house.
Yes.
But obviously the balance of family life, spending some time on a golf course with some of our players, and my young fella's starting to play now as well.
What's your handy? You got a handicap?
Yeah, I did. I got down to 7 when I played,
wow,
and now I reckon I'm about 10 now.
Yeah,
But talking to Ryan Mansell, a couple of the boys, I reckon I'll catch him. But even that, getting out on a golf course with a few, and we've got a lot of boys that really enjoy playing golf. So the fact that you can get out for 4 hours and talk anything other than footy, and dig in a little bit deeper with that connection piece. And then obviously just getting away, going down the coast, go and read a book. Try not to listen to a lot of media other than
Talking
Tigers.
Of course, yeah.
But you can get seduced in watching too many shows and things like that. So just making sure I've got a balanced lifestyle outside of it, because it's we're in a we're about to embark in a season that we haven't had for a long time. We've got a young list that we haven't had for a long time. So we're talking. We've got to start to really narrow our focus, so we've got energy for our young players. But walking into a building that your list dynamic is young, it does make you feel young again. So well, I can't wait for the season to start.
Yeah, we can't wait either. We'll be there at the G next week watching the Tigers and the Blues. Thanks for popping up.
No worries, anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zeus.